Two questions. One, are you still overweight? And if the answer is yes, two, would you like to change that sooner or later? If the answer is sooner, then I'd like to invite you to join me on my free 2-week Waking Up Lean for Life weight loss challenge, which is designed to do two things for you. First, we're going to show you what you're missing. I'll explain that in a minute. And second, we're going to do the biggest, hardest thing about getting started, which is get you started. Because starting is half the battle. So whether you're me, back in 2005, I lost over 80 pounds and have kept it off since then, or like Eric or Michael or Ben or Adam, we all start with starting. It has to start someday, and the sooner, the better. Here's why. Time keeps marching on. At some point, you have a realization. You realize you need to lose weight, but there can be a long delay in when you get started. The sooner you begin, the easier it is. And the later you begin, generally, the harder it becomes. If you're unlucky, like a lot of the people I know, you might even get to the point of no return. You have declining freedom, relationships, energy, sex, health, and happiness. You end up becoming depressed. You might get diabetes. You could become disabled, losing the ability to walk, losing your sight. And in the worst case, you could end up dead and never getting lean during your lifetime, like my grandmother and a whole lot of people that I've known, including some close family members. So I want to help you avoid that fate and get started today, because the sooner the better. The smaller the gap between this realization and when you begin, the easier it's going to be. For example, with Adam. He didn't have too much time between realizing he needed to lose some weight and getting started. And so his journey just became easier and easier and easier. It was never that hard. Other clients, like one who just joined me after 15 years of watching me be lean and making this stuff happen, right? Finally started, and he's got a lot more work to do. He's not at the point of no return. There's a lot of hope, but the problem is he's already gone over this 15-year period, and things just become harder and harder. If you gain another 100 pounds or another 150 pounds between like the realization and the action, then it's going to be a lot harder journey. So the sooner you start, the better. And how do we make that easy, right? If we want to get started, we want to make it super easy to succeed. Small baby steps, but doing the right things that make the biggest impact. And what I'm going to show you is going to double the effectiveness of everything you do from this point forward, and most people aren't doing it. All right. The second thing, most people are like Adam in the beginning. I was a little pompous and thought I already knew enough, even though I didn't. Is this quote. This was after I'd worked with him for a while, and he was telling me about how, he was really kind of hesitant to get coached in the beginning because he thought he knew everything and knew what he needed to do. He just had to work harder. And of course, that wasn't the case. So let's talk about the problem that Adam and I and probably you and pretty much everyone has. So there are things that we all know. This is your knowledge, right? There are things that you don't know. These are your knowledge gaps. There are things that you're aware that you know and don't know. So the things that you're aware that you don't know, it's like, well, are eggs really bad for me this week, or are they really healthy for me this week? We can go find that stuff out and come up with an answer. The problem is a lot of the things that are missing right now lie in the unaware sector here. So these are outside of your awareness. There are things that you know that you should be doing that you just don't really realize it's a priority. You're not making the most of what you have already. So those are things that you're unaware that you know, and then there are things that you're unaware that you don't know. And so what this is designed to do, this challenge, is going to get you into here with something called the wall. And then we're going to get you the things that you're unaware that you don't know through some video training that I've prepared for you. And once we go through that stuff, you're going to be just like Adam here. Once you help me fill in that knowledge gap, then I could really make some additional gains. Gains in strength, gains in awareness, gains in energy, gains in pretty much everything. And it only takes a few minutes a day. So, if we can do those two things, we get you started sooner rather than later, especially before the point of no return. The sooner you start, the better. So we want to get started. And two, we want to make you aware of what you're unaware of right now. So I'm going to give you some tools, going to give you some templates, going to give you some training to make that stuff happen. It's going to be absolutely free of charge. And I'm even going to give you some of my own personal time to help you make this happen. If you want to hop on a live call with me, we'll do some troubleshooting. And this is just here to help you get off to an amazing start. Because most people don't do this stuff. They work far harder than they need to for less results and ultimately end up failing. If you'd like a longer video on like all the details of the program, I'll give you the link for that. But if you're ready to get started, I'd say, just based on this, the best time to start is today. Generally, when you have good intentions and you put them off until tomorrow, tomorrow never comes. The weight on the scale, if the trend is that weight on the scale, the number keeps on increasing, it's gonna keep doing that until you change it. And there's no time like the present. The time commitments for this thing, we're gonna say 15 minutes a day for 2 weeks. If weight loss is important enough to you in your life right now to invest 15 minutes a day in yourself and raising your awareness and getting off to an amazing start, then I'd like to invite you to join me for this 2-week challenge. Just click the link below or wherever it may be, and I'll see you on the inside.